Hi everyone, my name is Vince Gallman. Thank you for joining me today. I had a mantra come to me the other day and I want to share it with you. It's a powerful mantra, it's a simple mantra. It's very easy to memorize. There's only 6 words in the entire mantra spread over 3 sentences. So there's 3 2-word sentences. And what I like about this mantra is that it appeals to my love of words, wordplay. It has alliteration, so the second word of all 3 sentences starts with the same letter, that being A. So in a moment, I'm going to be going through each of the 3 sentences and giving a bit of an explanation of what they mean to me, given the context of our world right now, given all the chaos and the confusion. So this is the way I will be contextualizing this mantra is what's going on out there and our relationship to it. What's an empowered way to be in relationship to what's going on in the world? This mantra you can say out loud or you can say it just by thinking it. It's very, very simple and like I said, very powerful. And when I say it, I really feel very quickly a clear shift in my vibrational state. My cells start pulsing throughout my body and I experience a frequency change. So you can say this out loud, like I said, or you can say it in your head. It really doesn't matter, and you can say this as many times as you want. But yeah, it's a powerful and simple mantra that I hope serves you during these very, very chaotic and pivotal times that we're in. So let's jump in to the first one, the first sentence of the 3, and that is I accept. I accept. So what does that mean? What does that mean, I accept, given what's going on in the world right now? So what it means is that I am willing to accept the rite of passage that we are in. I'm willing to accept that these are the end times and that they're necessary because we require an end to the division between self and life that makes us believe that we are apart from one another, which is really rooted in fear. And this has been going on a long time. We've long been in a dark age, going back thousands of years. So this is a necessary ending that we are in to birth a beginning, a new beginning, what many are calling a golden age. I call it a golden age as well. So when I have that larger perspective, that this is a rite of passage, it makes it easier for me to accept what is going on, even if it is highly destructive and causing immense amount of suffering. I can accept it. And it gets me out of judgment and gets me out of fear. And yes, there are dark forces at play. There are dark agendas behind this. I'm fully aware of that. And I still accept what's going on. And I don't agree with the manipulative, coercive, abusive tactics that are playing out right now. So it's both. It's both for me. I can accept this and not condone a lot of what's going on behind the scenes. I can accept this and not resist what's going on. I can accept this and not fight what is going on because the dark are playing a role right now. And yeah, a lot of their motives are deeply nefarious, deeply sinister on so many levels, and I accept it. There's no wisdom, in my opinion, to fighting what's going on right now. There's no wisdom to fighting it. There's no wisdom to resisting it. This doesn't mean I don't speak out. If you follow my work, you'll know I've spoken out. This doesn't mean we don't advocate. This doesn't mean we don't have preferences. This doesn't mean we are pushovers. And it doesn't mean we don't have boundaries. It just means I'm in a more empowered state if I can accept what is going on. And that doesn't mean I necessarily understand everything that's going on, but I don't need to understand something to accept it. I don't need to understand something to accept it. The other thing about acceptance means I am accepting the feelings that arise in me because we are going to go through a whole bunch of feelings. We are going to have grief one moment or anger another moment. I just read an article on the in the newspaper about some of the mandates that are going to be enforced on kids in kindergarten, and you can imagine what those are. And I just felt a surge of anger in me. I just thought, wow, that is child abuse. And I've let that anger be there. And I love that anger, because that anger was saying to me, you know, Vince, you love children. You take a stand for children. You always have been an advocate for children, and you do not tolerate that. And I accept it as part of the larger story that's going on right now. One thing we want to be aware of is not playing the role of savior at this time, not playing the role of rescuer, and not getting caught up in the triangle, which is a model, and I encourage you to look this up, and I don't know who created this, but it's a model of victim, perpetrator, rescuer, victim, perpetrator, rescuer, not getting caught up in that triangle that really can pull us out of our center, pull us out of our power. The more we get out of that triangle, the more we get out of playing one of those roles, the more we are in our power. The more we are in our power, the less likely we are going to get lost in being a victim, a rescuer, or a perpetrator. So there are clearly people who are being victimized at the very human level at what's going on here. So this doesn't mean we don't have compassion for the suffering that people are that's going on right now. We still have compassion. It's just that I'm not going to play that game of getting lost in those roles. I'm going to see people actually as powerful. I'm going to see them in their truth. I'm going to see them as sovereign beings of light, even though in many ways a lot of their freedoms are being taken away from them. I am not going to reduce my vision to who they are not. That is actually a disservice to them. So I will hold true to my soul vision, which sees them as capable and resourceful and wise, and is choosing to be here at this time, as voluntarily choosing to be here, incarnating, knowing what they were going to get into when they decided to come here as souls. They knew what they were getting into. All of us did. Okay? Again, that doesn't mean there isn't suffering. So I accept what's going on here. I accept that a big part of what's going on here is suffering at all ages. That's just part of this. There was suffering in your dark nights of the soul. There was suffering in my dark nights of the soul. And thank God no one came in and tried to rescue me from that, because I would not have grown. I would not have matured spiritually. So this is a collective dark night of the soul, and we have to accept that there is going to be suffering. And it's hard to watch people suffering. It's hard for me to watch children especially suffer. It's hard for me to watch animals suffer, but this is part of it. So accepting means we don't fight it, we don't resist it. And it's a knowing that I can be of greater service and I can come more from my power when I am first and foremost accepting what is going on right now. Again, it doesn't mean to agree or condone or like. Okay, number two is, so that was I accept. Number two is I align. I align. So what does I align means? It means that through my journey of healing and empowerment and awakening, I align more and more with love instead of fear. I align more with truth instead of lies. I align more with light instead of darkness. When I accept what is going on, I am taking a large step to aligning with truth. See, if I don't accept what's going on, what happens is that now I have an agenda for the world. I have an attachment. I have an attachment of what, I'm attached to what I think should happen or shouldn't happen. And the more I attach to the world and have these agendas for the world, the more I'm attached to the world. That's important to understand, that the more I'm attached to ideas of what should or shouldn't happen, the more I'm attached to the world. And the more I'm attached to the world, the less available I am to that which is transcendent, that which is the only place from which I can come if I'm truly going to be of service, which is light, truth, love, which transcends this world. Again, Jesus and other teachers, and I've said this in other videos, we've long had the message from these great illuminaries to be in the world but not of the world. Again, this doesn't mean we don't care. It doesn't mean we don't have compassion. It just means that I'm willing to accept things as they are to such a degree that I'm freed from that world of suffering and therefore can better support it. So I'm aligning with truth, love, light, instead of aligning with lies, fear, and darkness. Again, it takes a lot of healing. It's not for most people I know, it's not as simple as it's just a choice. This is a journey of becoming more and more aligned. This is a long journey of many, many lifetimes of coming more and more into alignment. And so healing certainly helps, but this mantra helps. That's why I'm giving it to you. We can actually speed up our awakening now because the consciousness is so ripe at this time. We're at a higher state of consciousness collectively than we were 20 years ago. So we don't have to slog it out as much as we used to in our healing journey. We can use these mantras to bring us into alignment, to bring us into truth, into a relationship, an agreement with our higher self. We can do that more quickly now using these mantras. So the other thing I just want to say about alignment is that the greatest source of misinformation right now is not actually out there, but it's in our DNA. It's the programming, it's the trauma that we have stored and that we store now in our DNA. That's the misinformation. That is the misinformation. It's the misinformation that says, I am less than, I am unworthy, I'm not good enough, I have to earn love. That says, I can't put myself first. It's bad to put myself first. I am bad, I am wrong, I'm the worst. These are the programs and the trauma imprints traversing many lifetimes that are stored in our DNA and that give us misinformation, that provide misinformation, and that when the more we are anchored, or the more our identity is an expression of those lower frequencies, what happens is that we are drawn to people and situations that match that frequency. So if I have a belief that I'm not worthy, then what's going to happen? I'm more likely to attract a partner that validates that for me on some level. Or if I think that I'm a bad person, I might watch media or entertainment or play video games that validate badness in me. So what happens is that that misinformation hooks us to a synonymous frequency. And as we break free, as we heal that misinformation in us, and as we open to the light of truth, as we open to the information of light, because light is information, and that information anchors into our DNA, well, now we're going to be less interested in spending time with people who treat us like we're not worthy. We're going to be less interested in watching the news, which is all about propagating fear and manipulation. So the core source of misinformation is that which is stored, the dark imprints that are stored in our DNA. Clear out the misinformation. Clear out the misinformation that creates a false sense of identity, a sense of identity that believes itself as separate from life. And we are more in alignment with truth. We are more in alignment with love. We are more in alignment with light. So that is what I want to say about that. And again, this mantra can direct you to that alignment quickly, more quickly. Again, there's no quick fixes here, but it can align you with that more quickly just by saying, I accept, and then I align. I align with my higher self. I align with the truth of life, the love of life, the light of life. I align with life itself. I align with Great Spirit. Okay, number 3 is I allow. So we have I accept, I align, now we have I allow. So what does I allow means? I allow means that there is a river, and the river knows the way, the river of life. There is a river, and the river knows the way. I was once given one of the most powerful visions I was ever given in one of my plant medicine ceremonies was of a great river, and this river represented the river of life. And all along the river stood shoulder to shoulder, elder after elder after elder. They stood as the banks of the river. These elders stood as the banks of this river. And just take a moment and think about, what does that mean to you when it's the elders who are the banks of the river of life? That's what makes an elder an elder. They're wise enough, they've traveled enough lifetimes to be stewards of life versus resisting life's mysterious ways. They are there to support the higher agenda, the higher divine plan of life without interfering with it. They are those banks. It was so powerful, shoulder to shoulder to shoulder, going back into infinity. And so this is a high vision of allowing. It's a high vision of allowing the unfolding of life to be as it is without interfering. And of course, there's crossover between this and acceptance. There's crossover between all 3 of these statements. But I offer this to you as a vision to hold in your heart that can help you to really know that ultimately life knows where it's going and we don't have to interfere. And when we can really settle into and surrender to this river, when we can allow the river, the divine plan, to unfold as it should, we really do open up to all possibilities. The more we do that, the more we open up to possibilities, the more we actually make room for miracles to happen. The more we can command miracles, because we are not getting in the way of what wants to happen. And again, this doesn't mean we don't speak up. It doesn't mean we don't advocate. It doesn't mean that we don't say no. It's just that we want to make sure that's coming from our power versus a place of victimhood, versus a place of rescuing. If we come from victimhood or rescuing, what we do is we continue or we feed victim perpetrator consciousness. We feed the whole triangle, in fact, all 3. We don't want to feed duality. We don't want to feed this triangle, however you want to view it, as a duality or a triangle. Ultimately, it's a duality consciousness. It's an us versus them consciousness. That's ultimately what it is. That's what it's been for a long time. It's a fear-based, split, psychosis consciousness. Psychosis means split. So it's a separation-based consciousness. So the more we come from our power, we are not feeding that. We are not feeding that. The more we come from our power, we are coming from non-dual awareness, from the non-dual nature of life itself. And that's what's needed right now. We need the non-dual consciousness, whether you want to call it Christ consciousness or Buddha consciousness. This is the light that is needed to transmute and transform the long-standing divides that have been here for a long, long time, and divides that are now escalating. We now see more and more divides. There's a clear divide right now in our world between pro and anti, if you know what I mean. So we need to transcend that. We need to not get caught up in the polarity consciousness. And we do that by anchoring in our power. We do that by accepting, aligning, and allowing. So let's practice it now together. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath into your heart. And repeat after me. We'll do it 3 times in total. I accept, and then you say it out loud. I accept. I align. I allow. I accept. I align. I allow. I accept. I align. I allow. And just notice what your body feels like now. Even just for me saying that out loud, I felt my body just reverberate. Trust the power of these mantras, this mantra and other mantras. These mantras really can, in the same way a transmission can, it can do the heavy lifting for us so that we don't, like I said, have to go into a slog of healing. We can find ways to heal and empower and awaken using the power of our throat chakra, using the power of our voice to activate truth in our DNA, to activate that and to even override fear and shame imprints at the quantum level. So I hope this was of help to you, and please leave your comments. I really want to hear from you how it feels to say this. And remember, you can say it out loud, or you can say it in your head or in your heart, whatever feels best for you. And if you enjoyed this, please share. Please leave your comments, subscribe, click notifications, and follow me on social media on my free newsletter. Links will be in the description. And take good care of yourself during these times, which again is a rite of passage. It is a necessary rite of passage into the golden age. Thank you all.